Hi, I'm Melinda Fulkerson with Tiny Stitches in Marietta, Georgia, and I want to talk to you today about the 1/4-inch seam and how to find it on your own sewing machine. First thing I do when I've got beginners is I cut 1.5-inch strips of fabric. You can see these are 1.5 inches. And it doesn't matter the length, but I like to do at least 6 inches. I actually cut these out of fat 8s. And you're not going to cut just 3, you're going to cut a whole bunch of them because this is a process. What you're going to do then is go to your sewing machine and do what you think a 1/4-inch seam is. And do that down the length of the fabric. When you get that done, you're going to actually do that again on the other side. At the end of that, you're going to take that and press it. I press the seams out, but it really doesn't matter how you press them. Just make sure that you don't have any little pleats in there. I then take a ruler and I'm just looking at between the lines. It should be 1 inch. We started with 1.5 inch pieces and we used up a 1/4 inch each in theory. Unfortunately, our seams were too big and therefore this is not 1 inch wide. I then went back and did it again, and as is typical, I compensated too much the other way. So now look what I have. I have this much larger than an inch, and that means that my seams were too small, and they're very tiny. You can see that. So third time, I got lucky, and my seam is exactly 1/4 inch because my block is 1 inch between the two lines. And that's what you want. Now this is not necessarily going to happen the third time you do it. Sometimes it happens many times. Some of my beginners do this 20 or 30 times before they find it. So it's good use of fabric. You might think you're wasting it, but learning this is something that's very valuable. What you need to learn is where to look at your sewing machine foot to find the 1/4 inch. This is a typical foot. This happens to be from a Janome. It has a little flange on the side, and that measures, if you put that right along the edge of the fabric, it will stitch 1/4 inch. Now the key here is that you have to know exactly how far to put the fabric up against that. Because if you push it real hard, you can see that you've moved over too far and your seam would be too big. So once you learn where to look on the foot, you usually have it from then on. So you just need to do this many times, get that 1/4 inch foot. Once you get one right, do it again. Just make sure you can do it more than once. So good luck and happy sewing.